You're now tuned in to the Real Money Coach broadcast with host Tony Jackson, author of the book Increase, Protect, and Dominate Your Money. Get ready for winning tips and strategies to effectively manage your finances and learn the key principles of protecting and dominating your money. Now, here's author and host Tony Jackson.
Welcome to the Real Money Coach Show here on Praise 100.9, Charlotte's Inspiration Station, and everywhere that you get your podcast. I am your host, Tony Jackson. Most of you know me as the Real Money Coach, and I'm so excited that you are joining me this Saturday morning or whenever you happen to be listening to this recording. I'm excited about a couple things. I'm excited about my city, right? And if I were going to maybe title this first part of the show, it would be something like Rep Your City. And the reason I'm actually saying that is because I've been doing some research, and we've been doing some research, and we found out a couple things that are really cool. And one particular list that I was looking at was the list of the cities with the most Black-owned businesses. And, of course, we're coming off the heels of Black History Month. But Charlotte is number 17 on the list in terms of concentration of Black-owned businesses. There is about 17, almost 1,800 Black-owned businesses in Charlotte. Our population happens to be about 22%, Black businesses, 3.8%. So there is work that needs to be done in terms of, catching up with Black businesses in terms of our population. But, just being number 17 on the list is pretty cool, especially when you think about we're a major size city. And, you look at, the Black median household income is about $47,000. Totally it's about 65,000 for all race groups, but, we're at 47,000. So there's work there for us to do. And our home ownership rate here in the Queen City is 45.9%. So that's pretty good in terms of, we're seeing more homeowners. We're seeing more Black-owned businesses in places like Charlotte. So Charlotte's number 17. Let me run through the top 16 with you real quick. Orlando was number 16. Raleigh, North Carolina. Shout out for Raleigh here in North Carolina, number 15 on the list. Columbus, Ohio was number 14. Baton Rouge was number 13. Number 12 was Columbia, South Carolina, right up the road, Columbia. And then at number 11 was Greensboro, right? Greensboro right up the road. And these are based on percentages. So, for example, when we look at Greensboro, it has 643 Black-owned businesses, which is 4.6%. Virginia Beach was number 10. Number 9 on the list was Jackson, Mississippi. And obviously, we know that there's some issues there in Jackson, Mississippi. So continue to pray for that city. And then percentage-wise, again, Baltimore was number 8. Number 7 was Augusta, Richmond County, Georgia. And, Aiken and North Augusta, that area. Number 6 was St. Louis on the list at 6%. Memphis came in at number 5. And number 4 was Atlanta. And, just by percentage, there's 6.7%, but that's over 7,500 Black-owned businesses in the city of Atlanta. Number 3 on the list was Richmond, Virginia. And then number 2 on the list, Washington, the DMV, right, with 7.7%. And percentage-wise, the number 1 city in America in terms of Black-owned businesses, Fayetteville, North Carolina, right? 11.2%, 585 Black-owned businesses, which I think that was pretty awesome that we had so much representation in terms of North Carolina. But I know we have a lot of people that are listening all over the country, Atlanta and et cetera. So, but I just think it's just a great environment for us here in these cities. And certainly I'm more familiar with North Carolina of just living here. But it's pretty awesome to be on those type of lists. And because, that we're a lot other lists that we're on that maybe we're not so proud of in terms of, wealth and generational wealth and, the creation of wealth and financial literacy and all that type of thing. But let me just pause here too to just tell you guys, I was so excited. Last Monday, I started a financial literacy masterclass. Talked a little bit about it on the radio, but man, was the turnout awesome. Listen, at that point on Monday evening, we had roughly 100 people registered for the class, and and 80 actually showed up. So that was a tremendous turnout. We talked about financial psychology. In the third part of the show today, on the last part, I'm going to give you some of the highlights of that. I'm going to share those with you. You can always go back and pick up the recording or something like that. But I want to just share that with you, some of the highlights, and I'll do that each week, and some of the highlights from the previous class. But you do want to make sure you tune in. Make sure you register the class. The master class is absolutely free. You can register at trmcmasterclass.com. trmcmasterclass.com. The class is Monday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, absolutely free. Now, today, when I come back from a short break, I have on the line with us today Elton Patterson, right? He is going to be my special guest. He's a former NFL player, spent like 3 years in the league, went Cincinnati Bengals, the Vikings, Jaguars. He was a defensive end, man. So, he's a beast, right? So he's going to be my special guest that I'll have when I come back after this short break. Remember, you're listening to the Real Money Coach Show here on Praise 100.9, Charlotte's Inspiration Station, and everywhere you get your podcast.
Family, join author Tony Jackson for the Real Money Coach broadcast each and every Saturday morning from 7:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. on Praise 100.9. Mr. Jackson enlightens you on the real secrets of money. He'll also help you increase, protect, and dominate your money. You can also catch Tony Jackson's The Real Money Coach every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on Facebook Live and YouTube. Check out The Real Money Coach, Mr. Tony Jackson, every Saturday morning, 7:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. on Praise 100.9.
Hey, Tony Jackson here. You know me as The Real Money Coach. Listen, I want to encourage you to do something. And what I want to encourage you to do is email me your questions, your comments, or even suggestions of topics that you would like us to cover on the Real Money Coach show. You can email it to info@therealmoneycoach.com. Again, that's info@therealmoneycoach.com. Email us your questions, your comments, your suggestions, and we will answer those on air and also on our Facebook Live YouTube show on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you email us so that we can get that information that you want to know in your ears. I am Tony Jackson, the Real Money Coach.
And welcome back to the Real Money Coach broadcast with author and host, Tony Jackson.
All right, welcome back to the Real Money Coach show here on Praise 100.9. You are listening to Tony Jackson, and I'm so excited. As I told you in the first part of the show, I have Elton Patterson with us. He is a former NFL player. He was in the league like 3 years, played with a couple different teams, but he is now NFL player turned NFL agent and an owner of his own business, franchise sports agency. And he is on the line with me right now. Elton, how are you doing?
I'm good, my man. Thank you for having me, man. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing well, man. I'm really excited to talk to you because, you know, I've known people to go to the league and, and stay a couple years. And sometimes they come out with some money. Sometimes, most of the time they don't, right? So yeah. You probably know that better than I do. But before we get into all that, man, could you just tell our listeners this morning, a little bit about you, where you grew up, and maybe where you played college ball? Look, just a little bit about you.
All right. Thank you, man. Like I said, thank you for having me. But I'm from Tallahassee, Florida, small town, home of the Rattlers, right? And I grew up in Tallahassee, then I got a scholarship to play football at University of Central Florida, which is known as UCF now. Small school when I came out. Had to take my only Division I scholarship offer that I had. So I went ahead and took that and made the most out of it and was able to get to the league after I graduated and got drafted in the 7th round of Cincinnati Bengals. That was a great thing for me. It was a lifelong dream. And I already had my degree, but I always knew I was going to be a business guy at some point. And I know when you go to the league, you kind of know like it doesn't last forever. Everybody's not a Tom Brady, right? So I kind of had to have some backbone, and my mom always been big on education. So I just made sure I had some stones in my pocket while I enjoyed the league. And as soon as I was done, I took off and came into the agent world.
Man, that's awesome. Now, USF, right? That's in Orlando?
UCF. USF. Okay. If you're not from Florida, they get it confused all the time. USF. Okay. USF is in Tampa, Florida. UCF is in Orlando, Florida. I'm not going to fight you. I'm not going to get on you, but no, it's UCF.
UCF. Okay, got it. And you play what position?
I played defensive line, mainly defensive end when I was at UCF in the college. And when I moved to I played with the Jaguars as well. So by the time I got to the NFL, I started playing defensive end / D tackle a little bit, but it was all on the defensive line.
Got it. So we know that you was a beast, man, because you can't get to the league playing defensive line and not be a beast. And man,
so I was the real deal out there, the sack record leader in college, So
that's what I'm talking about, man, to get your name in the record books, right? So, right. So, man, tell me, what was that transition like? You got two transitions, and we're just going to touch on it a little bit today. We're going to kind of really, break this down when we get to Tuesday on the show live. What was that transition like from high school to college, and then kind of college to NFL, and then kind of into private business life?
Well, high school to college, it was a big transition. It was different from me because, you're always going to a bigger town and whatever. But as far as football wise, honestly, I went to Ricketts High School, all black high school in Tallahassee. maybe 21 players on the team, right? And we were dogs. Like, everybody went both ways. So, and the practices was tough. So that's where I got my foundation from, honestly, under Coach Bell and Coach Hendricks at Ricketts High School. And my teammates, we all worked hard. So by the time I got to college, the practice wasn't that hard to me, honestly. So I adjusted on the field. The only adjustment I really had to have was, the class, the schedules, having my own free time. But once I got accustomed to that, kind of went through college and now NFL. Now, everybody think NFL hard, big guys, fast guys. But most people don't know that the NFL is 90% mental, 10% physical at that point, And at the end of the day, you're thinking like your job on the line. If I miss this play or mess up on a play, I might get shipped home, fired, So now it's a mental game more than it's physical. And you got to have physical attributes, no doubt about it, but you got to be able to put both of them together. So I took all of those attributes from high school to college football, now in the NFL, and now coming to the business world, and I use that same mindset. We got to go. We got to work hard. Let's wake up. Early bird gets the worm. Don't stop. Be relentless. Be on time. And I use all that stuff in my same daily practice as a businessman now. Man,
I love that. And to bring that aspect out, because like you said, most of us, armchair quarterbacks, right? Monday morning quarterbacks and, may play some high school ball like me and that type of thing. You always think about, the physical aspects of it. But you brought out something. It's just like, and people get traded, they get let go, sent home all the time. And then you're on the field, I imagine that does go through your mind. And so probably good preparation, like you said, for now being in the business world. So tell us real quick, man, in the next minute or so that we have left this morning, tell us a little bit about your agency.
All right, it's called Franchise Sports Agency. I created this agency once I retired. I got my agent license. And my goal, honestly, when I came out to be an agent, it was like, not a lot of guys go back and become agents that played the game. So I felt like I was going to be one of the only few Black agents that actually played the game, because there's just not a lot of us that go back into it. And I said my mindset is not to become this big superhero agent, but it's more so to help our young athletes, Black athletes, come out and manage their life, manage the funds. There's a lot of this stuff that guys just not going to know that they have going into the NFL with millions of dollars in their pocket and not knowing how to write a checkbook, or not knowing how to deal with the pressures of life, or not knowing, or just keeping God close to them and telling them it's okay to be God-like, and it's okay to love God, and it's okay to be successful in life, and it's okay to be a good father, a good husband. So that's the kind of things that I wanted to input into this agent world, because the typical thing, like that show on Ballers, right? Everybody think it's all NFL, party, club, hanging out, girls. And it's a different aspect to it. And I'm able to, my goal was to bring that different aspect of education, life after football, saving your money. That's what I provide for my clients. And that was my goal when I became an agent.
Well, listen, man, I'm really happy you were able to join us for a few minutes this morning. I can't wait to unpack more about that, some of the lessons that you learned, habits that you formed, in terms of even, how to deal with the financial aspects of it. Because, obviously, there's a lot of guys that wouldn't make a whole lot of money. And then boom, all of a sudden you got an NFL contract. And I know that NILs and all that kind of stuff has kind of changed that a little bit today. But man, I can't wait for Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Man, again, thank you for coming by, sharing some time with us this morning. And we're going to unpack all of this come Tuesday at 8 p.m.
Man, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
All right. You're listening to the Real Money Coach Show on Praise 100.9, Charlotte's Inspiration Station, in every place you get your podcast.
Family, join author Tony Jackson for the Real Money Coach broadcast each and every Saturday morning from 7:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. on Praise 100.9. Mr. Jackson enlightens you on the real secrets of money. He'll also help you increase, protect, and dominate your money. You can also catch Tony Jackson's The Real Money Coach every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on Facebook Live and YouTube. Check out The Real Money Coach, Mr. Tony Jackson, every Saturday morning, 7:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. on Praise 100.9.
Hey, Tony Jackson here. You know me as The Real Money Coach. Listen, I want to encourage you to do something. And what I want to encourage you to do is email me your questions, your comments, or even suggestions of topics that you'd like us to cover on the Real Money Coach show. You can email it to info@therealmoneycoach.com. Again, that's info@therealmoneycoach.com. Email us your questions, your comments, your suggestions, and we will answer those on air and also on our Facebook Live YouTube show on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you email us so that we can get that information that you want to know in your ears. I am Tony Jackson, the Real Money Coach.
And welcome back to the Real Money Coach broadcast with author and host, Tony Jackson.
Welcome back to the Real Money Coach show here on Praise 100.9. I hope that you enjoyed that interview with Elton. Patterson. Again, he's going to be the guest on the show, on my live show on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and we are going to have a great conversation as we finish what we started this morning. Now, as I mentioned to you in the first segment of the show, I am doing this masterclass, and I'm so very, very happy and just proud of the number of people who are registered. I'm really humbled, right? I'm really humbled that we could put out some content that we would have so many people register for and actually come. And so the first week, last Monday, we talked about financial psychology. And the main part of the financial psychology portion that we talked about is needs, emotions, and money, and really the connection of our needs, emotions, and money. And the main thing that we talked about there is that it's more than just money affects more than just our bank accounts, right? Money affects our emotions. You know, when we have money, we're in a better mood. Sometimes when we don't have money, we can be in not the best mood. And even we know statistics show that when people are going through hard economic times, that even, things like the rate of domestic violence increases and those type of things. So money affects our emotions. It also, in that light, also affects our sense of well-being. I mean, even as a child or even as an adult for that matter, when you know that you go home and you got food, you know that you're not in danger of being evicted, you know that the lights aren't going to be cut off, it just does something for your confidence and your well-being. And then obviously your overall mood is much different when your finances are flowing. And that's why it's so important that we get involved in financial literacy, financial education, financial intelligence, so that we can put ourselves in a better position so that our emotions are better, our sense of well-being is better, our overall mood is better, and then obviously our health. We know that there's so many heart attacks that happen on Sunday evening, Monday morning, because people are dreading going to work because they don't like their job or what have you, or if you're stressing about money, it can have a tremendous impact on your health. And so those are, some of the things that we talked about in terms of also when you think about, pain versus pleasure. How does our personal finances play into that? Because we're conditioned as humans to move away from pain towards pleasure, right? And because of that human condition that exists in us, oftentimes we do things like what I call retail therapy, where we want to move towards pleasure, so we go out and spend money on things that we enjoy. Now, oftentimes the problem is if we haven't budgeted for those things, if we haven't set the money aside for those things, the short-term pleasure turns into long-term pain, right? But, you're talking about pain versus pleasure. You know, that's why we have insurance, right? So if I pay my premiums, if my car gets crashed, I don't have to pay for the whole thing to get fixed, but I just have my deductible. And, you know, and we have to really kind of think about this thing called delayed gratification. And so often that's one of the things that we have to really kind of deal with is, you know, our addiction to immediate gratification. And so we want to move away from those type of things and just really think about it in terms of our money mindset and our psychology as we approach money. Here's the thing that I love to say is this is like, you know, rich people stay rich by acting poor. Poor people stay poor by acting rich, you know, and we want to change that narrative, right? We want to change that narrative completely. And then, you know, on the second half of the class on financial psychology, we start to deal with things like, where did you learn about money? You know, who taught you about money? We have this concept that we call more knowledgeable others, right? MKO, right? More knowledgeable others. And so who are the more knowledgeable others in your life? Is this your parents? Is it peers? You know, close associates, other professionals, friends, teachers? Who are those more knowledgeable others do you go to get advice? And so we unpack that quite a bit. And then we also talked about, you know, what you should be looking for in terms of a money mentor. You know, we all need mentors. And so if you're looking for a personal financial mentor, you got to ask the question, are they living the lifestyle that you desire? You know, number two, can you relate to the information they share? Is it relatable for you? Number three, do they motivate you towards positive decisions? Do you share the same values and beliefs? Are they easily accessible? And, you know, it's so important. I was attending an event here called Breakfast Conversations last week. And the guest speaker there was Jeff Hoffman, the creator of Priceline and also Booking.com. And he talked about so often our mentors are people who are in proximity, right? They're close to us. The reason why we go to them is because they're easily accessible. They may not necessarily be the best mentor for us, but they're just easily accessible. So make sure that when you're thinking about your money mentors, that not only do they have the things that I talked about, but you also want to make sure that they're accessible to you. And so that's kind of what we shared in the class the first week. That's a quick rundown of it. Make sure you register for the class. It will be Monday, 8 p.m. It's 7 weeks, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Go to trmcmasterclass.com. Register. It's absolutely free. You have been listening to the Real Money Coach Show here on Praise 100 and everywhere you get your podcasts. Y'all have a good week, and I'll see you on Tuesday, 8 p.m., live on Facebook and YouTube.
We hope you've enjoyed the Real Money Coach broadcast with author and host Tony Jackson. We encourage you to utilize today's strategies and principles to manage your money in the most effective and winning way. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to send us an email, TonyJacksonAgency@gmail.com, or you can reach us on all social media platforms. And if you would like a copy of Tony Jackson's book, Increase, Protect, and Dominate Your Money, log on to www.therealmoneycoach.com. Until next week's empowering broadcast, God bless.